I remember many years ago, back in college, one of the guys in the dorm was kind of a hotshot character from Chicago, and he had a favorite put-down. Something would go wrong, he would look at us and say, "We send you to the best of schools. We buy you the best of books. I teach you everything I know, and you still don't know anything." Sometimes that's how it feels, doesn't it? Well, today we are really in an educational crisis in terms of our higher education and, of course, what's going on for even K through 12. Well, David McKnight and I have talked a lot about this, and that's been one of his passions in life, is to really help our children, our kids, our young adults know something, and most importantly, to know who they are. That's his story, and I'm just going to let him tell it. This is the Creator Entrepreneur Podcast. It's about ideas, good ideas, influence, impact, income, and we have twits. We have teachers of wisdom, insight, and truth, and I've asked one of them to join us today for this program. So stay tuned. The program is on right now.
Thank you, Stan, for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts and ideas that have been percolating in my mind for some time. I go back to my daughter's, she was about to graduate from high school, and we had, she had gone to a private school through kindergarten through high school, and we wanted her to have a good education, and we were at the school, and it was some kind of a parents' function. And I went up to the parents, and I asked them, there was a group of them that I knew standing there, and I had a question that had been percolating in my mind. I said, we've just spent probably close to six figures for our children to get educated, and does it bother any of you that they don't know still who they are? And they got a kind of a puzzled look on the faces of the parents, and I explained further that yes, they've had a great education. Matter of fact, it's very good education. But so many of them, I fear, don't know who they are. And well, I'll take you back. What makes me think of that is I started back in working on with people, with an organization to help people understand kind of their design or their what made them tick, what was their predilection in life, what was their behavior. In essence, figuring out what socks they're going to wear next Tuesday, to get to that kind of detail about a person's life. And what we found is some of the best information to find out about somebody was looking at them in childhood and seeing what they did. What did they interview? I've interviewed hundreds of people, asking them, so what did you do? What was the achievement you were talking about? Didn't have to be a blue ribbon or gold medal kind of achievement, but you had some sense of satisfaction and you had some role in it and you felt you were good at it. And in interviewing these people, I would like to try and get information from their early childhood experiences and through their life. And you could begin to see a thread that would run through that, looking used, what was their role in the situation? Did they do it by themselves? Were with a group? Were they a part of the group? Were they a leader of the group? What were they doing? And so in the early 90s, I think 91 to be exact, I had a daughter that was born. When she was about 2, I said, I really want to try to listen to what she says, what she's doing, and what's important to her. Not what's important to me, not what's important to her. See, I tell parents this, their child is not a slate to write on, not some whiteboard to impress them with what you think they should do and be, but they're a book to be read. They're telling you every day, this is who I am. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Do you understand me? And so I began listening to my daughter that way, just as I'd been interviewing hundreds of people, getting to know who they were. And she began using words that were not words that were important to me or to her mother, but they were words that seemed to continually show up in her conversation. And one of the words was plan or planning or some derivative of that word that always seemed to be important to her. And I found that if I used that word back in a conversation with her, I generally had her undivided attention. And I remember thinking as she grew up, that word, that idea, that concept continually stuck with her. And I realized that's hers. That's not mine. That's not her mother's. I remember she liked to play basketball. And so she was in a summer camp when she was in the 5th grade. And she was camped for all week. And her mother and I took turns showing up at noon to pick her up from basketball. And so one day we got our signals crossed and we both showed up at the school, and we happened to be in a room above the gym looking down on the students. And it was the end of the practice or end of the time. And so you had about 60 kids out on the court with a number of different hoops and people were playing games. It looked kind of like mass hysteria, but it was designed to be, they were doing the right thing. Well, my wife was observing her daughter kind of getting tossed around and in her mind getting beat up. And she says, I'm going to go down and I'm going to give that coach a piece of my mind. I said, wait a minute now. Are you looking at that game through your eyes or through Meredith's eyes? And she stopped and says, oh, you're right. I'm looking at it through my eyes. See, we look at people through our lens, and if we don't see what we like, then we try to change the scenario. What my daughter was doing, she was in seventh heaven. She loved the competitive atmosphere, and it was a part of who she was, and she wanted to play basketball and did. And she loved planning. And so I decided to really hone that into her so she knew that's who she was. And so I remember her kindergarten teacher telling us one time, yeah, Meredith is the one that will stand in front of the chart that tells us what we're doing every day. She wants to know when's recess, when's this, when's reading, whatever. And that's how she's always been. I remember taking her to school one day around 9th grade, and she turned to me as we were driving, and she said, Dad, I figured it out. My friends have great ideas, but I can execute them. And she's right. She can. She often would come to me and apologize for saying, I just have to make a list. I said, that's how you do things. Don't apologize. That's how you get things done. That's how you plan. That's how you execute. So she goes off to college, and I say to her that first day as we drop her off in her room, I said, Meredith, you're going to have a great time in college. You're going to love it because they're going to give you a syllabus, and you're going to have the whole semester laid out for you. You'll know the plan. What you aren't going to know is all the other things that happen in college life, the spontaneous things that just happen. So you're going to have to find a way to jump in the middle of it and bring your skills and figure it out. So she called me 2 or 3 weeks into the school and said, Dad, I joined the Student Activity Association. I'm a volunteer to help make things happen. She did a great job. Next year, she was a director, a paid position to take over all the 4-day events at the school, and they have like 50 a year. Next year, she was the executive director of it. She loved it. Why? She got to set plans, organize things, and make things happen. Because that's what was inbred in her. That was put in her before I ever saw her. And it was my job to help her understand that, and her mother's job. I remember thinking and telling her one day, I said, Meredith, when you leave the nest, when you leave our home, I want you to know that your wings will spread completely out. They're working, and you have all your feathers. You've got what you need to do, and you know who you are. I have interviewed so many people. I have sat around the tables of mom and dad and the kids. And I've watched parents try to impress upon their child what they should do. In essence, how to fix their child. And I say, their child is to be read. Just listen to them. They're screaming at you every day, this is who I am. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Do you know who I am? I tell parents there's three things they're asking. They want to know, first of all, is this place that I'm in a safe place? Am I safe here? Secondly, do I have something? Is there something in me that's right, that's good, that people will see and I can do? And thirdly, they want to know, will my life have any significance? Will there be any meaning or purpose to it? They're looking for answers to those questions. So as I said to those parents on that day, our kids have just had a great education. They're good at math and science and other skills, but they still don't know who they are. And we're about to send them off to college and spend a lot more money. Probably at the end of that time, they still won't know who they are. See, what will happen is they will be searching for somebody or something that will make them what? Feel safe, will promise them something, and they will think they have significance. So they go and do what someone else thinks they should do. I had a client once who was a physician, successful physician. He was at a point where his kids were now in college, and he was very frustrated because he felt like he really wanted to be a landscape architect, because on weekends he would think nothing of renting a backhoe and redesigning his backyard. That's what he felt he should do, but someone said be a doctor, and so he had the talent and the skills to do that, but something in him wasn't satisfied. So we had to roll that back and help him think, what was it? What was the design in him? What was it that was always his predilection, the behavior he always wanted to do, and how could he take his being a doctor and make that happen and shape that? And so he went back and talked to his partners, and he did redesign his practice to better fit him, not someone else. I've seen this over and over again. I've been with prisoners in prison, helping them understand what was right about them. And to have them say, no one ever told me this. No one ever knew. I thought this was something wrong with me. And so I was trying to always put it down, put it away. But you're telling me this is who I am. It's a gift. This is what I have to offer society. Yes. So we try to help those men go back into society with something more than that said, now I can do more than flip burgers and push a broom. I have something. Everybody has something. Everybody has something that's right. But the problem is too many of us have not looked at people as books to be read, but as slates to write on. And that's kind of the dilemma I see we face in society. We're asking people, we're looking at people saying, what's wrong with you? I need to fix you. People don't need to be fixed. People need to be listened to. So often when I am invited in to fix and work on problems, I look for what's wrong only so that I can find out what's right. Because so often I have found that the problems that we're looking at come because what's right about somebody is not being recognized, and so they do it harder. They do it more. They're sabotaging themselves by doing more of what isn't needed in order to get approval. I've been with executives where they're about to get a pink slip, but when I talk to them, they're working harder than they've ever worked, but they're doing that what works for them, what their heart, what their design tells them to do, because that's what they know how to do. And it's not what's needed in the situation. So I do see that we have issues in our society. I've often wondered when we're having this cry for safe spaces on college campuses. And in Berkeley, there's a circle in the middle of the campus where someone can stand there and say anything they want and they're safe. That's kind of sad. Sad that we don't feel safe. Our children are asking, is it safe? And if they don't feel it is, they will go somewhere where someone will make them feel safe. Someone will tell them they have something, and they will give them some significance. But is it the right place? Are they telling them the right thing? And is it really true? So I've watched this issue play out in my own daughter's life. She's now 30. She's an attorney. She's a mother. And you know what? She still is trying to set the plan. What's the plan? It doesn't go away. This design that we've been given by God doesn't go away. It just tries to find expression. There's a verse in the Bible that says, train up a child in the way they should go. I think too often we've looked at that verse and said, I know, I need to impress upon them the things and the values, everything that I think they need to have. Instead, it said, in the way they should go, which is, let's listen to them and help them take those values that you want, but put it and help them. They can take it where they need to go, designed by who they are. I've worked with the U.S. Army and Wells Fargo executives in a number of different nonprofit groups, mom and dad around the kitchen table, young couples getting married, and they all have something right about them. And the more they can understand that, the better they can understand how to get along, how to work together, and how to get things done. Those are just some of my observations that I've seen over the years. And we spend a lot of money to educate our kids, and oftentimes they still don't know who they are.
Thank you, David. That's very good, very challenging. And I'm thinking about today where we talk about education, and education has become even worse. It's now indoctrination. And that's the worst thing you can do to people.
Yes.
And so instead of education, where you're saying move it to the point where education is framed by helping that person discover and be who they are. And in fact, we're not only not even educating them well, we're doing just exactly what we shouldn't do, which is, this is what you should believe, this is who you are, this is what is true, and there is no self-discovery, and there's no education, and no wonder they're
no
rioting in the
self-awareness.
streets.
Yeah. Because they're looking for what? Meaning and purpose. And someone has said, if you go do that, your life will have meaning and purpose. And so off they go. Why do people join gangs? Because someone's promised them a safe place, strength. You've got something, you'll have meaning and purpose, and your life will have significance. That's repeated over and over again.
Yep.
So,
well, we're going to talk more about this, but thank you very much, David, and we appreciate. By the way, we oftentimes say make sure that you pick you to give a presentation, and you did just that. You raised your hand and said, I'd like to be a TWIT, a teacher of wisdom, insight, and truth. So you twitted well, and now I would say now that you've picked you and you've performed you, why don't you pitch you? How can people reach out to you?
I have a website. It's McKnightLeadership.com, and you'll see some podcasts and some of my thoughts and kind of what makes the work that I do. It's evident in what I do, and I'll be happy to talk with you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, David, and we will be back in touch with next time you have some more good ideas. Why don't you just let us know? Pick you. And we'll go from there.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, that was quite a challenge from David, wasn't it? And as I used to say on the radio, in fact, I still do all the time, just let that sit on your head for a while, and now you know why I titled it as I did. You've spent thousands of dollars on your children's education, and could it be that they still don't know who they are? And what are we going to do about that? So think about that, and perhaps you'd like to respond, and perhaps you have something to respond back to that, something you'd like to share. What we are all about is, we say, we're collecting twits. Now, these are people who don't tweet, but they're twitters. That's right. What they do is they're teachers of wisdom, insight, and truth. That's what we need. Teachers of wisdom, insight, and truth. And if you'd like to be one of that group of select people, pick you. Select yourself, raise your hand, get a hold of me, and say, Stan, I think I have something that would be helpful for other people. And with your permission, I would like the privilege of sharing it with others on your program, or lots of programs. So raise your hands and reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. Stay in tune. We're going to have a lot more good stuff just like this, so that we can truly live a life that will be better in 2021, as we're on the edge. But we are going to be, as the scripture book says, we will be indeed more than conquerors. Let's do just that. I'm Stan. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.